Rev up your engines! Today I'm going to talk about why electric cars are full of all kinds of hype that don't meet reality. The other day here in Clarksville, the power company told people don't use unnecessary electrical stuff. We're going to have rolling blackouts. Do you know how much power one of these things uses when it's charging your car? It's a level 2 EV charger, 220 volts. That's what most people are going to use at home, because if you use the 110 volts in your normal house, it's going to take days to charge something like a Tesla. If you use 110 volts to fully charge a Tesla, it can take between 20 and 40 hours to charge your car. Most people are going to have a level 2 installed at their house. But even with one of these level 2 chargers, it will take 4 to 8 hours to fully charge something like a Tesla with a big battery. That's a long time. But it's not just the time. It's also the amount of power you're pulling from those telephone poles. Every hour you got this level 2 charger charging a Tesla, it's going to use anywhere between 1.3 and 1.6 times the amount of electricity that you use for your house for an entire day. They were yelling at us here in Clarksville not to use power because it was cold and they had to have rolling blackouts. If everybody plugged in their electric cars, it would be the same as having 10 times as many houses. Now, they don't even have the power for the houses that exist presently. Add 10 times as many houses and you'll see what I'm getting at. I talked to some of the power guys that are friends of mine. They said, a lot of the old wires, they couldn't take it. If all these houses were charging cars up, the wires would melt on the poles. The transformers would probably blow up. But more importantly, where is this power coming from? It does not exist. It's got to come from somewhere. If they're going to sell millions of people, they got to buy these electric cars. Where the heck is the electricity coming from? And as far as I can see, the government, we're going to build up infrastructure bill doesn't have anything about building new power plants. And fat chance of that. When I lived in Houston, I was living in Houston in 2020, right? The year 2020. The power lines in my backyard were put up in the 1940s. So right off the bat, electric cars, they got all those problems to start with. The grid can't take all that power at once. We're already pretty much at capacity, right? The lines can't take it, because they couldn't handle the power. But of course, there's no power being generated to charge all these cars up either. It's a big rat's nest that they don't want to talk about. Now, if you're doing long distance traveling, you'll notice it's very hard to find big charging stations. But even when you do, understand this. I know people have electric cars and they do tell me it's a hassle traveling cross country, trying to find places to charge it up. And that's now. Imagine, put millions and millions of more electric cars out there. Let me tell you, one gigantic rat's nest. Now they say, oh, it's green, we're all going to drive electric cars. We're actually building them is dirtier than building regular cars. It's a mess too. But even on top of that, Tesla stock lost 50% of its value. And what's behind that? Well, of course, all kinds of stuff, economic, the stock market's going down. But electric cars are new technology. There are a certain amount of people who have a lot of money that like the idea of new technology. They want to try it out, so they went out and they bought a Tesla. They feel okay at being guinea pigs for testing electronic cars. But just the other day when I was in the Denver airport, I'm waiting in line to rent a gasoline car, and a guy behind me was renting a Tesla. So I said, hey, I see you're renting a Tesla. And he says, oh yeah, I got one at home too. So I said, what'd you pay for the Tesla? And he said, well, I'm a businessman, so I didn't buy one. My company is leasing it. He didn't buy it because he said, hey, who knows what's going to happen in the future? This might be a failure. It might break and cost a fortune to fix. I'm just leasing it. I'm not buying it. And one thing I find out about a lot of these people who buy electric cars, they say, it's not just cars. It's a philosophy. I'm buying into a philosophy. Well, you might think you're buying into a philosophy, but actually you're buying into a car that you got to drive around it. You have to think of the practical aspects of it. Take the F-150 Lightning electric pickup, right? They're touting, oh, our great electric pickup truck, blah, 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 blah. And then people find out in the cold weather, towing things, it has very little range. It's not built for what normal pickup people want to drive. So as a good example, I asked all my truck customers here in Tennessee, none of them had an electric truck, and to a man and woman, they all said, Scotty, I would not buy an electric pickup truck. I use it for my business. I make money. I make a living out of this truck. I can't chance my living on this thing that may or may not be dependable and certainly does not have the range that my gasoline or diesel pickup truck has. Now, the interesting thing about electric pickups that I personally found so far is the people that I've met that have bought them, they were all the first-time buyers of a pickup truck. Not just an electric pickup truck. They had never owned a pickup truck before. So they thought, hey, I get an electric pickup truck. I don't have to worry about high gas prices because pickup trucks are gas hogs, and it'll be fun. I'll have an electric pickup truck. All the people I met that had the Lightnings didn't own a pickup truck before. They wanted to get an electric vehicle to try out, and they thought, oh, let's get a pickup because we never had one. We hated the bad gas mileage, but now, oh, we're green. We have an electric pickup, so we're all going to be happy. I have yet to find a single business that bought an electric pickup truck. Now, eventually, somehow they'll sell them to people because, hey, there's government-run stuff. I just saw the other day in Vermont, the University of Vermont, where my oldest son graduated from. They got one of those front-end loaders. Volvo makes them their electric instead of diesel, right? These aren't people who own a construction business that got to run their front-end loader heavy-duty all the time. This Volvo front-end loader costs twice as much as the diesel version. And they say it can run up to 5 hours. Up to 5 hours, probably when it's warm outside, right? Not doing full loads of picking and digging holes and stuff. 5 hours, they say, maybe it lasts 2-3 hours. Then it takes 5 hours to recharge it. Does that make sense for a business? Of course it does not. So what I see with these electric pickups are people that are into new technology. They want to try out. They never had a pickup truck before. They're not expecting to tow all kinds of weight and to fill the bed with workloads. It's more or less a toy. Mary, the head of GM, is saying, oh, by this year we're going to have 50% electric vehicles, la, 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 la. GM has enough problems building quality vehicles that are gasoline or diesel. What makes them think they can make a complete turnaround, build new technology and not screw up? Every time GM tries something radical, it seems they screw up. And of course, when you put in a mix of electric vehicles, not only is it new unproven technology, but take the Ford Mustang EV. Not really a Mustang, it's an SUV that's electrified that they call Mustang, right? The things are all made in Mexico. Why would you take cutting-edge technology that you're trying to prove works and build it in Mexico where the quality control is absolutely horrendous? It comes down to profit margin. They can make them cheaper in Mexico, so they will. Quality be damned. And of course, everything breaks eventually, right? And they actually did a study in England and found that electric cars were amongst the most unreliable that broke more than the regular gasoline and diesel cars did. The myth of them not breaking is just that. But when they do break down, generally, you got to go to the dealer. People don't know how to work on them. But there's two big problems with that, right? The last place you ever want to take your car to get fixed if you care about money is the dealer. They have millions of dollars of overhead. They got to pay for that before they make a profit. You're paying that, then you're paying their profit. Their prices are totally outrageous. They try to sell you the kitchen sink every time you come in. As if that's not bad enough, you got GM mechanics working on Teslas. From my experience, my customers' experience, the GM dealers often do not fix the cars correctly, or they overcharge. You're going to take another brand, a complex Tesla, to a GM dealer that has enough problems figuring out how to fix their own cars, and then take your Tesla there to get it fixed. Let's see how long that pans out when these things start breaking down seriously and need serious work, not just tires or whatever they've been doing. The electric cars cost so much more. You can take all their figures out the window. Generally, between a regular gasoline car and an electric car, you're going to start by paying 20-something grand more for the electric car at a minimum. So my question is, why would you be a guinea pig trying out untested technology at an outrageous price? Well, as I always say, follow the money. They're making more money, so of course they're going to say, oh, electricity's the future. Let's all jump on the bandwagon. We're going to get rich. Don't listen to anybody that's talking about this new technology because they're all on the new technology bandwagon. And baby, I've seen the wheels fall off the bandwagon. I've seen the bandwagon start on fire like a Tesla burning down to the ground. If you buy their electric car, the company goes out of business or they have all kinds of problems and they can't fix them. I've seen people waiting 6 months to get Tesla fixed. They couldn't get parts. People couldn't figure out how to fix them. You buy it, it's yours. And if you know anything about corporations, once you've bought their stuff, they don't give a rat's behind about you. For example, that failing electric company, Rivian, electric pickups, right? Months ago, they said, we got to deal with Mercedes. We're going to make electric trucks in Europe. We're going to all become billionaires, blah, 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 right? Then 3 months later, oh, well, we're not doing that deal with Mercedes. And then they say, well, that was just a talking agreement. It wasn't anything legal, blah, blah, blah. If there's one thing I've learned in my 69 years on this planet, it is that pipe dreams often go up in smoke, and bandwagons, the wheels always fall off. Sometimes they go for a little ride, sometimes they go for a long ride. If that bandwagon doesn't have proven technology driving it, like a gasoline or diesel engine, it can easily all fall down for all these infrastructure reasons I've given, all the social reasons I've given. People want to get your money, and they'll tell you all kinds of lies to get it out of your pocket. Think really deeply before you go out and get suckered into buying new technology that isn't proven, that has no power supply if everybody decides to start buying the things. If people start using the electricity, they'll start raising the rates like mad. They'd have to start putting road tax on electricity, because if people didn't buy gasoline, a gasoline road tax fixes the road. That'll be gone. Then they'll start taxing electricity. Don't think that this stuff isn't all about getting money out of your pocket. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.